This is Locked On Bets, the daily betting show that means business from the Locked On Podcast Network. Hosted by Lee Sterling and Kevin Rogers, they're dropping fearless picks with an inside edge to put money in your pocket. If there's action, they've got the lock. This is where smart bets start. It's Locked On Bets.
Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Locked On Bets. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports with you. We appreciate, as always, you making Locked On Bets your first listen of the day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. College football Saturday, the big boy in Columbus, Texas and Ohio State. We are going to go over that college football playoff rematch from last year won by the Buckeyes. Can the Longhorns get revenge this year? Arch Manning, the savior for the Longhorn program. We'll see if he could do it. New quarterback for Ohio State. That is coming up. Also, we have baseball picks, WNBA picks, recap from a winning night. All of that is straight ahead. But first, we begin with tonight's blowout.
Oh, boy. Last one out, turn off the lights. This one's a blowout.
The Blue Jays routed the Twins last night. Minnesota continues to play poorly as they lose at Toronto. Now Chris Bassitt on the mound for the Blue Jays tonight. See if he can duplicate his 10 strikeout performance against the Pirates last time out. And Lee, what do you like here with Chris Bassitt and his K-prop?
Well, we may not need 10 strikeouts. The over-under is 5.5 on his strikeout total over-under. And all we need is 6. And this is a guy here who's leading the team, and he's got fire in his belly when he takes the hill. You got a team trying to win a division. I mean, this is huge for them. And they're playing a team in Minnesota that, if you watch them the last 3 games, just looks like they're going through the motions. And if you're going to have a team, a young team, and you're going to show some promise, you got to have a leader. Brian Buxton, they thought, was their guy. And he looks like he is just going through the motions. I'm reading his body language. Not only is he not getting hits, I mean, just looks like, walking up to the plate, just collecting that paycheck. And that's what you don't want to see from a young team and a supposed leader. So this Minnesota team, I think, is quit. Maybe they're thinking about, the end of the season too early. Usually it's maybe 2 weeks from the end of the season where a team starts folding their 10 in. But I'm seeing it now from this Minnesota team. They strike out a lot. Their metrics are not good. They're right there at the bottom with all these other bad teams. And like I said, Chris Bassitt had 10 strikeouts in his last time. My numbers have him here. It's throwing 7 or 8 strikeouts, and they let him pitch deep into the game. So they don't want to take a chance and just have their bullpen have problems and have him pitch too many innings here. So you let your horse pitch here, and he can certainly mow down some people. We're going to take Chris Bassitt here over 5.5 strikeouts. I think he's going to have 7 or 8 in this game. Blowout special.
And last night, Lee, 2-1 night here on the program. So that's good. A winning night right out of the gate. We'll go with the loser first before the winners. And we just talked about the Twins and Blue Jays coming up tonight. Last night, I had Minnesota first 5. I will admit, one of my worst picks I've had on the show. And Joe Ryan didn't pitch well out of the gate. Max Scherzer did pitch well for Toronto. Twins made it interesting late, but still the Blue Jays a winner over the Twins. So I thought there were some better picks on the board in retrospect, but unfortunately, an L, and we move on.
That's what you got to do. One time, maybe my worst pick ever was Fernando Valenzuela. When he came back, I think he'd been out of the game for a year or two. He came back, and I saw him pitch one night, and he was just getting pounded. So I figure, hey, go against him. What does he do? I think he either threw a shutout or a no-hitter. I think it was a no-hitter. So if you think that was bad, there's always worse. Like I said, it's just 1 loss. It's not like it's 4 or 5 losses. You'll rebound, and I expect your WNBA play, which you've been rolling on, to hit tonight.
Man, you really pulled that one out, the Fernando Valenzuela pick from a long time ago.
It was my worst, maybe one of my worst or my worst baseball pick ever.
So we did have 2 winners last night. You're responsible for both of them, Lee. Riley Green of the Tigers. They ended up losing that game. They're up 3-0 and lost to the A's in Sacramento. But Riley Green did have 2 hits, and you had the over on his total bases prop. So take that one with the pair of hits.
Didn't feel good to start the game. He struck out the first 2 times, but 2 real strong singles. So, usually for these guys that are power hitters, guys that bat top of the batting order, we're getting a lot of doubles and home runs. We tried it some different way, and it came through for us.
And the Mariners ended up pulling away from the Padres out in Seattle. The big dumper, 50th home run that he hit last night. Cal Raleigh went deep again, and Padres actually were up in that game. They scored 4 in the top of the second, but then Seattle bounced back and ended up winning that game on the run line.
Like I said, we were going against a really poor pitcher, and this was a plus money selection there. So a lot of handicappers, a lot of bettors, they just bet favorites. I felt that they were going to win by more than a run. So sometimes you got to lay it. Sometimes you got to take, the 1.5 runs. So we read that game right. They scored 9 runs. Easy win.
So we talked about this weekly on the show. Every day we have a college football selection. On Monday was North Carolina State against East Carolina. We have a pick on Texas, Ohio State coming up in just a little bit. That's the biggest game on the schedule Saturday, probably for the whole weekend. But just any other impressions you have going through this first week, or anything from week 0 that you saw that maybe is you want to bring up, or just any kind of college football comments that you have as we go into week 1?
Well, the thing I saw from the 4 games with Division I teams with the best line play won. So, for all the quarterbacks and, all the talk about, the NIL, bottom line, if you can block and you can tackle, you're going to win a lot of games. And teams like Iowa State, it was close at half. Second half, they ran the football. So those kind of things. And then other than that, like Kansas just dominated the line of scrimmage, put a lot of pressure on Warner, and they won that game easily. So it's a simple game. With all the spread games, the idea of the spread offense is you're trying to get more 1-on-1 situations. That's how the spread came into existence. A lot of people don't realize that. Sid Gilman, if you go back in the days in the late 60s, early 70s, he didn't have a power running game. So what did he do? He spread you out, tried to get his receivers one-on-one in situations where they were more in space, and that's great. But bottom line, if you tackle and you block, you're going to still win a lot of games. It's about execution.
And we'll see how it all turns out with everyone else getting in action coming up this week, beginning on Thursday. And again, Longhorns Buckeyes from the Horseshoe. We're going to talk about that game coming up in just a little bit. Also, a WNBA play for tonight. Also, another baseball play. So, very busy day here as we continue a Tuesday edition of Locked On Bets. Guess what today is? You know what day it is, August 26th. That means it is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week 1 even kicks off, this is your moment. And if you're bullish on an MVP, Lamar Jackson of the Ravens, he's the favorite. Joe Burrow, he is another quarterback to keep an eye on. He's at 6-1 odds for the Bengals. You look at Josh Allen, even he's also at 6-1 odds for the Bills. Patrick Mahomes of the Chiefs, he's still up there. Let's not forget about Mahomes and all the great things he's done. But then also division winners. Do you have someone maybe you're thinking about that could be plus money? What about a Super Bowl champion? Are the Eagles going to repeat this year? The Chiefs going to bounce back? Are the Lions going to finally get to the Super Bowl? Or maybe someone else that no one's talking about you can get a good plus price on, and you got to do it today at FanDuel. It is FanDuel Futures Day, August 26th, which is today. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. We continue here, Locked On Bets. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. And I just mentioned that today is FanDuel Futures Day. So, Lee, any NFL futures that you like at FanDuel?
I like the Buffalo Bills. I mean, it's not just because we're watching Hard Knocks, a lot of people, but, Dolphins fan, it's tough to say this, but I think the Buffalo Bills are loaded. Everyone talks about the offense, but they really helped out the defense in the offseason, draft-wise, and also signing some free agents. So I like them over 11.5 wins, minus 160. I think they win 13 or 14 games.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree. I mean, it does come down to, as long as Josh Allen is healthy, it's hard to see the Dolphins, Patriots, or Jets coming close to the Bills at all inside of that division, since all of them have average to below average quarterback play. So let's now transition to the WNBA. 2 games tonight. We saw 2 big underdogs cash last night in losses. We'll see what happens tonight as we have our blowout special.
Oh, boy. Last one out, turn off the lights. This one's a blowout.
Don't do the intro as good as you. I admit that, but still, I can dream though, Lee. So the Seattle Storm at Indiana tonight, and we're going to take Seattle in the first quarter -1. Seattle's continuing this long road trip, but they've been playing well, and here are some numbers on them. We told you how bad Seattle is at home, but on the road, they've been very good in the first quarter. 9-1-1 straight up, 9-2 against the spread the last 11 games in the first quarter. They are 12-6-1 straight up and 12-7 against the spread on the road in the first quarter this season. Now, the Indiana Fever, they are a mash unit right now. They're injuries all over the place. They're just running out of bodies. That's what it comes down to. And they're off a pair of losses to the Minnesota Lynx, the team with the best record in the WNBA. And Indiana actually led after the first quarter each of those games, but then fell apart late. So you would think, oh, Indiana starts off hot and then fades. But also Indiana shot well from three-point range in each of the last 2 games early. I just can't see that continuing. Also, the Storm have lost twice to the Fevers this year, both at home. So we'll see if they can bounce back here. A little bit of a revenge spot for them. I think they're the better team. Let's take Seattle in the first quarterly -1.
Let's start off strong and let's cash a winner. And then I can watch some other games in baseball tonight.
It's like 15, 16 minutes, then you're done. Yeah. I mean, it is just like in and out, which makes it great.
It's under 20 minutes for sure, right?
I will tell you this. I will tell you how I know this. I keep track of all the first quarter stats for the WNBA, right. So I don't make all the stuff up. So where I get my stats from is from the WNBA stats site. And what they have is when you click on the game book, which is basically all the stats and the breakdown of the box score, and it breaks down through every quarter and every half and the play-by-play and all that. It says duration of the game, duration of the period. And it says 16 minutes, 17 minutes. I'm like, this takes less than 20 minutes. Like, you get in and out in this thing in 20 minutes or less. So it's like a pizza delivery. So this is fast. So that's what you got.
Not many timeouts called unless the team. I've noticed watching the first quarters, unless the team is down by double digits, right?
No, you're just hustle up. Let's do this. We'll talk at the TV timeout. So that's what we got tonight. The Storm in the first quarter. So now we transition over to baseball, and the Guardians got blown out by the Rays last night. Tampa Bay really gave it to them 9-0. But we'll see if Cleveland bounces back tonight for, guess what time it is, Lee? Hidden Gem.
To find a diamond in the rough, you need to dig a little deeper for those hidden gems.
And what happened to the Guardians? That they were playing all right. They came back to life. They almost had a no-hitter in New York. And they just got swept by Texas. They've just been awful of late. So tonight, is this their bounce-back game against the Rays, Lee?
Maybe it's a combination, where the Cavaliers ended their season, preseason football started and Cleveland Browns are playing. So they figure, they can stink up the joint like those two teams. But, they have lost 6 in a row. You have to, look at that fact. But these are two teams that are 6 and 6.5 games back of the wild card. If they're going to make a move with 40 games left, they're going to have to do it now. What did they do? They brought up former Florida State, where you went to college, pitcher number 77, Parker Messick, 24 years old here, a hard-throwing lefty. And in his debut, watch this, 6 2/3 innings pitched, gave up only 6 hits and 1 walk. Very important. Young pitchers, they come out, they walk 3-4 guys, and you walk that first batter, usually more than 50% of the time that runner scored. He can get strikeouts, 6 strikeouts, and just gave up 1 earned run. So I was impressed with him here. Didn't seem like the moment was too big for him. On the other hand, Shane Bay here for Tampa Bay has thrown 138 innings pitched on the season. 26 home runs. That's bad. But what's maybe the worst is 52 walks here. Has not had command of the zone. Plus, he's getting hit of late. In fact, his last 4 starts have been so bad. He's given up in 19 innings pitched, 26 hits, and 19 runs. 1 run per inning here. I think the play is Cleveland here, money line, minus 115. I think this line's going to go off minus 125 to 135. So get on it early here. I think they're going to break that 6-game losing streak here. My hidden gem, Cleveland Guardians here, money line minus 115.
Yeah, I mean, when you look back at Cleveland, they were at one point, Lee, at the end of July, they won 9 of 10. And you thought, oh, wow, here we go. Like, they're coming back now. And then all of a sudden now, they got swept by Atlanta at home. They lost 2 of 3 to Arizona, got swept by Texas. They've been shut out in 3 straight games. You got to get this offense going sooner or later. So it's just been a very frustrating season for the Guardians. And then when you look at Tampa Bay, they're just so up and down. You don't know what you get with Tampa Bay every night. Like that's the problem with the Rays, is that they've always been so consistent under Kevin Cash. And I get this year with the stadium change and all of that. It's been a lot, the road trips, the schedule has been kind of wonky for them. But yeah, I just don't understand Cleveland, how much of a roller coaster season it's been.
And Tampa Bay's had trouble in the last month and a half on the road against American League opponents. So let's see if that continues. All we need is 1 win, just 1 win. And I like the fact young pitchers usually pitch a little quicker. They want to get out there. They're excited. And if you pitch a little bit quicker, your defense is on their toes also.
Coming up, we are going to stay in the Buckeye State. That's a good transition. As Texas and Ohio State, they hook up, big noon kickoff, Fox on Saturday, and just a monster game. It's great for college football that we get these kind of matchups, and you're not playing cupcake A&T out of the gate. At least you're playing somebody good. So Texas, Ohio State, playoff rematch from Columbus. We're going to talk about that game coming up next right here on Locked On Bets. Locked On Bets continues here on a Tuesday. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports, and college football coming up on Saturday. A lot of great matchups, and this weekend a lot of great matchups. But the one that's going to keep everyone's attention at noon from the Horseshoe in Columbus, Texas and Ohio State, rematch of last year's college football playoff game in which the Buckeyes ended up winning. Buckeyes won the championship, obviously, but we'll see if Texas and Sark, if they can get the revenge here. And now, Lee, it's time for the lock of the day.
Open it, open it, open it! Lee has the key to the lock of the day.
All right, the Arch Manning party. We'll see if it begins coming up in Columbus on Saturday. With Quinn Ewers gone, Arch Manning's the guy now moving forward for the Hook'em Horns. And Lee, what do you like with Texas and OSU?
And also Will Howard gone. You can't, underestimate his loss. I mean, he was only there 1 year, but what a settling force. He ended up propelling that run in the playoffs to getting drafted in the 4th round by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Quinn Ewers, on the other hand, almost went undrafted, was picked by the Dolphins in the 7th round, has not looked good. And Will Howard, before he was hurt, there was talk about him maybe being the successor here for the Pittsburgh Steelers as a starter down the road. So that just shows me that Ohio State was better at the quarterback position, believe it or not, last year, even though Quinn Ewers had more hype. Thought they had the better running game. Look at Henderson, the kid for New England that they drafted. He's going to probably be their starter and could be their workhorse this year. So Texas, they had their chances in that game. It was, I believe they were down by 7 points, 21-14, under 4 minutes to go, and they were first and goal on the 1 yard line. And what did Steve Sarkisian do? Out of the shotgun. Who runs a shotgun from the 1 yard line? But he did. Ran the shotgun and didn't run up the middle. If you run up the middle, okay, maybe you lose a yard or two. He ran a toss, slow developing sweep to his running back, and he gets tackled for a 7 yard loss. Then the next play, rolls out to the left, couldn't find a receiver. He ends up getting sacked, and Jack Sawyer picks up the ball after making the sack and runs for the touchdown. So, that just shows me that Steve Sarkisian was right there on the doorstep, couldn't come up with the key call in that game. But you have revenge factor here all off season. Think about that semifinal loss that was played in Dallas. You have a team, Texas, a lot of people forget this. They lost their best receiver in that game early in the game to an injury here. So the talent is pretty similar. So what is the difference here? I think Arch Manning is better than Julian Sayin. Julian Sayin is a kid that's really had almost no time under center quarterback. I know he's playing at home, but reports are he has not looked real good in fall camp. Arch Manning, he's had a lot of time to get under center, and I think he's going to be ready for this moment. And also both coordinators for Texas are back, Kyle Flood and Pete Kolakowski. These two guys are back and have been there at 40 acres for 5 years. We're going to have two new coordinators for Ohio State. Sometimes getting those calls in, from the coordinator into the defense or into the offense, you haven't been doing it yet, or with the guys, it's a little bit different than running scrimmages. So that could be a factor also. So I think the revenge factor, I think the quarterback and the coordinators being there, and Texas just had some bad breaks and a few bad calls, like I said, especially one by their head coach. And I don't think he's going to make that bad call again. So I'm going to go here with my wrong team favored. It's going to be my lock. That's right. My level 2 lock on a Tuesday. I like Texas outright 24-20 over Ohio State and the horseshoe.
Do you think Ohio State was the best team in college football last year, or they just got on a hot streak?
They got on a hot streak. I mean, what's crazy is Ryan Day, they were talking about firing him after the Michigan loss. That was all the rage. Now, I don't think they'll say that if they lose this game, but I think it's big here, like it was for Ryan Day to go on and do well in the playoffs and win it all last year. I think it's really important for Steve Sarkisian. They have a bad loss here, and, it's a lot of money. Both these schools, especially Texas, deep pockets, they're going to start talking that he can't win the big game. So I think he's been game planning. Usually a great play caller. I mean, think back to when he was at Washington, also at Alabama. I mean, he used to be a great play caller. So I think he's certainly studied, what he's going to see. And I think he's going to get the job done here.
I am with you on Texas in this game, but I will tell you, though, Lee, that it's funny how we all forget that Texas was one bomb away from losing to Arizona State.
Well, that's what happens also. Yeah. Sometimes people bet what they've seen last. Texas did struggle in that game, but give Arizona State some credit.
Yeah.
Their offense, Cam Scatterby was incredible. The quarterback was great. And don't forget, I think Texas missed 2 or 3 field goals in that game too. So, there was a lot of factors that went into Arizona hanging around in that game.
But I will say, let's close on this, though, Lee, that yes, Ohio State, Texas's last game was against Ohio State. Ohio State's last game was against Notre Dame. So Texas, knowing that this is it, that they can game plan forward. And yes, Ohio State's got the tapes on Texas, but at the same time, now new quarterback with Arch Manning. That's not Quinn Ewers anymore. And obviously Ohio State has a new quarterback. So really for Sark, that, they could hone in on this, where Ohio State's still kind of living off the high of being a national champion.
It's tough. You see a lot of teams in every sport. After you win a championship, that first game out, in the NFL, we've seen many teams struggle in the first week and lose, and we see it in college football. It can happen. I love that, you're seeing 2 heavyweights go head-to-head. It's great for college football, and, the SEC is going to have 9 conference games starting next year, so we're going to see more and more of it, and I think it's good for the college football fans.
Yeah, and we'll see how the SEC fares this weekend. LSU faces Clemson. If LSU can end their long opening week streak, their losing streak, Alabama goes to Florida State. So a lot of big games for SEC teams coming up in week 1. Lee, what is going on with Paramount Sports with week 1 of college football? A lot of big games this weekend.
Well, it's been paying if you've been tuning in. We've had 6 out of 8 winning weeks. One of those weeks was even. So you go 6-1-1, you're feeling pretty good about yourself. We started this week off 2-1. I'm looking at a possible later game in baseball to release. And how about this? my way of saying thank you for tuning in. I handed you the biggest game of the week. Hopefully that's a winner with Texas. I will give out my biggest baseball play today for free. All you need to do is DM me on Twitter at Paramount Sports or email me at psports@bellsouth.net. So you want to get a free baseball winner? Like I said, just contact me on Twitter at Paramount Sports through DM or email me at psports@bellsouth.net, and I'll give you that. Like I say, my way of saying thank you for tuning in and supporting us. And also, like I said, football right here 2 days from now starts. There's like 15 games on Thursday, 15 or more on Friday. So you're ready for some action. 5 weeks of action. That's right, 5 weeks of action. Normally $597. If you use coupon code SAVE100, just $497. You get my phone service plays. We've won 30 out of 31 years or the season, $19.97. Just one place, ParamountSports.com.
And you can find us on YouTube. Like and subscribe to our channel, Locked On Bets. Also, the podcast form on your audio platform, whichever one you listen to. You can find it, Locked On Bets. We appreciate your support. And also, you can find us on X, Lee at Paramount Sports, myself at Rogers Picks. We'll be back with you coming up on Wednesday for another edition of Locked On Bets right here on the Locked On Podcast Network.